Hi, I'm Allison Anderson from Anderson Arts and Wellbeing, and today I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about what you can do if you have some anxiety at work. So we're going to go through some ideas of things that you can do inconspicuously so that your coworkers will not be aware, but these things will help you alleviate the anxiety in the moment. So the first one is if you have access to cold water. If you're feeling quite anxious, you can always splash cold water on your face. Or if you have a glass of cold water nearby, you can use that. Just have a drink. And what's that's going to do is it's going to, your body has what's called a dive response. And it's a survival mechanism that's built into every human being that causes our nervous system to calm down, to conserve energy when we can't breathe, when we're underwater. And so that cold water initiates that dive response. So that's going to automatically lower your activation, your emotional activation. So this is a good thing to do when you have anxiety. And I'm sure you've all splashed cold water on your face in the past and found that it was somewhat of a relief. And so this is why. So that's one thing that you can do. Another thing that you can do that you can, just sitting at your desk, you can notice your body sensations. So you can notice the pressure of your feet against the floor. You can notice the pressure of your seat against the chair, and just focusing on the body sensations. You're breathing in and out. Notice the movement of your ribs, and that's going to lower any emotional activation as well. So that focusing on body sensations allows you to get out of your head and more into your body. And what that automatically does is get you more in the moment, because that's the only place our body exists, is in the present moment. Anxiety is all about thinking about the future and what's going to happen. So by getting into your body, you're getting into the present. The other thing you can do, you can look around the room and identify different colors that you can see. And so this is kind of like a distraction technique, but you're engaging your visual senses, your visual sense in this instance. So looking for different colors, blues, greens, whites, any contrast. You can look at the difference between, say, the white of the door frame and the tan or taupe of the wall. You can also look for different shapes and try and identify how many different shapes are there in the room. Look for circles, look for triangles, look for squares, rectangles, the rhombus, if you can find one. So different shapes, different colors in the room, that's going to focus you on your visual sense. Also, another thing you can do that's more expressive arts related, which if anybody's listened to me before, you know that I'm very much about expressive arts and the therapeutic uses of that. And so what you can do is on your desk, maybe you've got a computer, maybe you've got a computer mouse, a pen, a book, maybe a glass, and just sitting at your desk, again, nobody's going to know you're doing this, but just taking those objects and placing them in relation to each other just to see what the aesthetic effect is of those objects placed near each other, on each other. Maybe we're going to do something like this, where we have a bit of an object installation, as it were. So you're creating shape and juxtaposition of objects that creates some sort of feeling. So you can just play with that, and that is going to help you lower that anxious feeling. Another thing you can do is, if you have a marking instrument, whether that's a pen or a pencil, a highlighter, and a blank piece of paper, you can take some time to try and just draw what you're feeling. And it doesn't have to be representative, so it doesn't have to look like anything in particular. It can just be an expression of what you're feeling. So just marks on a page. Again, that creates a container for those feelings, and you're going to find that your activation starts to lower. Another thing that you can do is maybe below your desk, you can choreograph a little dance with your feet and try different movements with your feet and see how different ways of moving your feet feels, and then rehearse that little choreographed dance and then maybe perform it for yourself. Again, nobody's going to know you're doing it. It's under your desk, right? So that's another way that you can kind of dance away the anxiety. And if you don't work in an office, maybe you're an electrician or you're a plumber or some other trade. Maybe the actions that you're doing with your tools, and you still have your job to do, right? So you're still active. So you can one thing that you could do is do that mindfully. So that would be really notice the sensation of the tools in your hand. Notice the resistance if you're putting a nut on a bolt. Notice the resistance, how it gets more and more. Noticing those little sensations, really using your senses to dive into the work that you're doing. You could also just do things with a flourish. So like dancing under your desk with your feet, you could dance with your hands, using those tools and still doing what it is that you do. So those are just some different things that you can maybe try if you're at work and you're starting to feel anxiety build up. And hopefully these are things that will help alleviate that and get you back to work and back to focus on what it is you need to do. So until next time, I'm Allison Anderson, and this has been brought to you by Anderson Arts and Wellbeing. Till next time, engage, create, thrive.